I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Second Chance. This evening, my guest will be Mr. Brennon Graham, the Executive Director of the program The Relative. Sit back, grab yourself a paper and a pencil, and I'll be back in just a second to educate you on his program. Thank you.
At home, it's real easy to feel like you're all alone in the world. It could be drugs, alcohol, physical abuse, or trouble at school. So you either leave or get pushed out. But no matter what kind of problem you have, you're not alone. There is a safe place for you. And where you see this sign, there are people who are ready to help you. And there are safe place signs all over Charlotte. At the fire department, the police department, Bojangles restaurants, and any Cat's bus or train. Just go to any site that has a safe place sign. Let them know that you need a safe place, and they'll know what to do. Usually, they'll find you somewhere comfortable to wait while they call a police officer to give you a ride. Don't worry, you're not in any trouble. Transportation is just one of the ways that CMPD helps us out. If you're on a bus, train, or at the transit center, they'll make sure you're safe and then get you on the right bus. Either way, you'll be getting a ride to the Relatives on East Boulevard. And that's where you'll meet people who are trained and ready to help you start dealing with your problem. The Relatives is a shelter for girls and boys from 7 to 17. We have 9 beds, and you can stay here for free up to 14 days if we have room. Oh yeah, and there is one of those big yellow safe place signs by our door too. So you're welcome to come here anytime, 24/7, 365 days a year. We're at 1100 East Boulevard, about halfway between South Boulevard and Kenilworth Avenue. You don't have to call before you come, but you can call our crisis hotline anytime at 704-377-0602.
Hey, gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Second Chance. This evening, my guest will be Mr. Brennon Graham, the Executive Director of the program The Relative, who will be giving you some information about a very important program that's in our community. How you doing there, Mr. Graham?
Doing all right. How are you?
All right. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself first, and then about the program The Relative.
Okay. I got to tell you, I like talking about the relatives much more than I talk about myself. But I'm Brennan Graham. I'm the Executive Director for The Relatives. I've been with the organization for about 6 years, and with our parent organization, Alexander Youth Network, going on 8 years. The Relatives is an agency. It's a subsidiary of Alexander Youth Network. It's an agency that serves youth who are 7 to 17 years old, who have run away from home, who are homeless, or in some type of crisis at home. And that crisis could be anything from family arguments to major situations where the family is about to split apart. Our mission is to keep kids safe and families together. It's pretty simple, but it's a big mission.
Okay. How long has The Relative been in existence in Charlotte?
The Relative started in 1974. Started in the basement of the Dilworth United Methodist Church. People in the community saw kids sleeping in Latta Park, not too far from the church, and they wanted to do something about it. So they opened up a shelter in the basement of the church, and from then on, it was The Relatives.
Okay, I know you said the age group is 7 to 17. Mm-hmm. Why was that age group, thought about? Why you feel like that's a big age issue?
Well, family crises happen, at a wide range of ages. And we have a lot of situations where young people who are 7 years old and sometimes even younger may appear at our doors and need help. I'm not exactly sure why the specific ages 7 to 17 were I guess, determined. But 7 years old, we're seeing so many young people with that, we're seeing so many young people that age needing help.
Okay, as far as someone of that age, how does someone get into your program? What's the process someone would take as far as to get into The Relative?
Okay. A lot of different ways, really. One way is a walk-in, where you have a young person who's just in trouble, needing help. They'll come to our door, and we'll bring them in. We'll talk to them and figure out what's going on. We have a variety of services. We have a 24-hour crisis hotline. We have what we call walk-in crisis counseling, and then we have a residential program. So if someone just walks into our services, they may not need to stay there overnight. It may just be a situation where they need guidance. They need a referral to different resources in the community to help them with whatever issue they may have. And we'll just wrap services around them from the community and hopefully help them while they're at home or in another safe place. Sometimes young people or their families may call our crisis hotline. And that could be the end. They could call the crisis hotline, get the assistance that they need, and that's the end. Or we'll set an appointment. They'll come in for a walk-in session, and then we'll determine if they're appropriate to stay. Another way is through our Safe Place partnership, National Safe Place. We are the local affiliate for National Safe Place, meaning we're the Safe Place hub. So when young people see the yellow and black Safe Place sign on fire departments, park and recreation buildings, any CATS bus or train, and a variety of other places, they should know that they can go there and ask for help, and those people will guide them to the relatives somehow, either through a phone call. They can ride CATS buses or trains free of charge. Police will even offer free transportation.
Okay, I know you stated runaways. How big is the issue of runaway in our community? And for someone to run away, at what point do you contact the parents or guardians of that youth?
Okay. Well, first of all, anyone who stays in a shelter, because they're under 18 years old, they have to be signed in, or we have to be given permission to take care of them by our legal guardians. So legal guardians are always contacted. However, there are certain guidelines about when we can do it. Generally, we do it within 24 hours for everyone because our staff work really well to develop a relationship with the young people so they feel safe with us, and they feel safe enough that we can call their parents to let the parents know where they are, or the legal guardians so they'll know, because we don't want the parents to be stressed and worried about the kids either. Right. But if they're over 15 years old, we have 72 hours to contact the legal guardian. If they're under 15, we have 24 hours. But as I said, generally 24 hours, everyone is notified and family members come in. We have conferences at that point, and they sign the kids in, and we give them a period where they can kind of cool off. Now, a young person may run away for a wide range of reasons. Right. It could be an abusive situation at home. It could be they're just scared of something that's going on. And runaway, I think, it doesn't necessarily complete the reasons why people are there, because a lot of times our kids are being pushed out of their homes by their parents. And that, I think, is a growing problem with just different issues that young people are experiencing, families needing more help dealing with those problems and those situations. Parents are pushing their kids out of their homes. Last year, I believe it was 58% of our kids were either pushed out or they were already homeless on the street.
So the issue of there's a lot of stress with the economy and I guess with the employment and stuff like that, and with that stress, having that child, with the behavior issues, it may take that parent to that point. Mm-hmm. But in an abusive relationship with that child, do y'all contact some type of agency, or how do y'all handle that? I mean, because he may have some type of fear about contacting that parent.
Absolutely. If there's a situation where we believe that a young person has been, actually not even if we believe, if we were told that a young person has been abused by their parents, then it's our obligation to contact social services. And so we get them involved immediately. We have a great partnership with Youth and Family Services. And so it's just a call, and they quickly have someone come out, and we try our best to make sure the kids stay safe, because, again, our priority is keeping kids safe. And so if they don't feel safe at home and they come to us, we want to make sure that we do everything that we can to make them feel safe when they're with us.
Okay, when they come into your program, how long can they reside there?
Up to 14 days. And our average length of stay is about 8 days. So usually, if someone comes to our program and they need help, we identify safe resources for them. If they have run away, we work with them and their families to get them back together. If it's a situation where the whole family is homeless, we'll figure out what we can do to help them find resources from the community. We work with a wide variety of partners in the community to find resources for kids and their families. And the average length of stay for all of our clients is 8 days.
8 days. Okay. As far as I know, you said about do you talk to the parents, the guardians, one on one or whatever, and find out exactly their situation and that whole problem that they're having?
We talk to everybody. The kids one on one. We talk with the parents, and we bring them back together. We do whatever we can to, first of all, identify what they believe the issue is. And our job is not to provide therapy. We do crisis intervention, crisis counseling. So we just want to make sure that we can help calm the situation down. If there's a family crisis like that, we'll calm it down. But then also help them to develop a plan for keeping themselves safe as they go forward. And we also offer parenting classes for all the parents in the community. Started out as parents just of our kids who were being served at the shelter, but we realized that this is a great prevention service because a lot of the family situations are happening because of power struggles or just various issues that could possibly be prevented. So we've opened our parenting classes to anyone in the community who believes they need to come in. And the classes aren't designed to say you're a bad parent and we're going to teach you how to be a good parent.
Correct.
But it's just to offer tools to help you deal with certain situations as they arise so your family can stay safe and stay together. And they're free of charge.
Do you get a lot of parents coming to your program, or do they kind of like, go?
We're getting more than we did in the past, but the thing is with our classes, they are it takes a commitment. It's a 3-week session, and each class is 3 hours long. So every other month on the first 3 Tuesdays, we have our parenting classes from 6 to 9 p.m. And so families have to really commit to 9 hours of being with us. We use the Love and Logic model that was developed through the Klein Fay Institute in Colorado. So it's an evidence-based model, or a best practice model of working with parents and teaching parents how to deal with certain situations with their youth.
Okay, when the child is at your program, what all does he participate in while at your program?
It really depends on the situations. One of the first things that we do is develop a service plan, so we can actually help the youth while they're there figure out how to get out or go to another safe place. So it's not a vacation either. You're coming in and you're going to work. We're going to develop a plan to figure out how we can help you work on the issues that brought you to us. And then you're going to be responsible for doing a lot of things that you probably should have been responsible for doing at home. You're going to have chores. You're going to have to follow the rules. Things that sometimes young people may not want to do.
Correct.
We also have group activities because everyone's in the same position when they're at the shelter. So it's not, well, I'm better than you are and you're better than I am. We're all here together needing help, so we'll have activities that are designed to help the whole group. We may do independent living skill groups, anger management groups. We have just various activities and groups that are designed to just help the team. But then also we have fun activities too. We have lots of volunteers who come in and really help us out. We have a program called Dinner with the Relatives where volunteers from the community come in and cook dinner for the kids.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times they'll have dinner activities, maybe a cooking class, or they'll cook and then after the dinner they'll have an activity with the youth. We've had people just have food delivered to us and the kids will come in together and eat dinner. We want to make sure we eat as a family. And a lot of our volunteers also donate tickets to Bobcats games, Panthers games, Checkers games. So various activities, because oftentimes some of our kids have never experienced that. So we want to make it as home-like and as fun as possible, understanding that you're here to work and work on the issues that brought you here and figure out how to, and I'm going to say it again, keep you safe and keep you and your family together.
Is your program designed for boys, girls, co-ed, or how is it really patterned?
It's a co-ed program. It's a co-ed shelter. We have 9 beds. And so, we do our best to make sure that we serve anyone who needs our help. But, at some point, with 9 beds, we may not have a place for these young people to sleep at this time, so we'll figure some things out. But if we have more boys than girls, we'll start switching rooms around and making sure everyone is in, the genders are kept together. And it gets kind of tricky sometimes. We have staff who are there, at least 2 staff on shift at all times, so we make sure we watch and keep a close eye on everything. All of our doors have alarms on them.
Oh, okay.
So we'll know when the doors are opening and closing. And one other thing, all of our doors that have locks on them have to stay shut, and each bedroom locks from the outside. So people can come out of the rooms, but you can't go into another room. And when the doors open, we'll have alarm. But usually, we have activities that kind of fill the day. So it's a limited amount of free time, but enough time for young people to have the wind down if they need it.
Okay, if they're in your program for a certain length of time, do you still require them to go to school? And if so, how does the transportation issue how do you deal with that?
Well, if you're enrolled in school in CMS,
Correct.
and you're not suspended or something like that, you have to go to school. And that is really not negotiable. And we provide transportation to and from school all over Mecklenburg County. And this is not just a Charlotte program. This is the only shelter of its type in Mecklenburg County. And so we take kids, get up in the morning, 5 o'clock, and start school runs. And sometimes at the end of the day, we'll finish at 5 o'clock. And we have a contract with CMS to provide the transportation to make sure that the youth get to go to their home schools. It doesn't benefit them to be pulled out of their school for the time that they're with us and knowing that they have nowhere else to go. So we do provide that transportation. And it gets hectic, but it's just part of one of the services we provide.
Now you mentioned that your program is basically the only one like its type in the Charlotte area. Why?
In the county.
County?
Yeah.
Okay, the county,
The
Mecklenburg County. Okay, why is a program like that not, I know it's a big issue that we have, why isn't it more looked into?
Well, I think people are looking into it. We look into it. We look into the need, but I do believe now that the relatives is not necessarily tackling the entire issue, but we are working on helping make this become a more known issue in the community, the issue of youth who are homeless or youth who are in crisis and families who need help. We're working to make that known. So with that work, we're also working to address some of those needs. We have 9 beds. Absolutely can't house every homeless child in this community with 9 beds. But we also have a crisis hotline that gets almost 1,500 calls a year. We have walk-in services where we have families coming in, more than 100 families just coming in for crisis counseling. So because we can't serve you in our beds, we can figure out ways to serve you through the community while you're at home. And we'll use our partners, various agencies in the community who provide services for kids and families to help them make that happen. We absolutely can't do it on our own. So the partnerships with other agencies is critical.
And I know you mentioned as far as what's your long-term goal? What do you see the relative at? Because with only 9 spaces, do you see a growth in your program in the future, or what do you?
Well, we're actually looking at that, trying to figure out what will best serve this community. And one of the things that we've realized, just not necessarily with just the relatives, but through Alexander Youth Network, our parent company, families are best served where they are, unless, of course, the situation is unsafe. So if we can figure out how to serve youth and their families at home or in a more permanent environment, that seems to be the best way to do it. So through our walk-in services, through our crisis hotline, we have aftercare. We follow up with the youth and their families for up to a year after they leave our program. So we can't expand our beds right now, but we can definitely expand our reach just by those services that don't require a facility.
Correct. Okay, I know you said you were affiliated with the Child National Safe Place.
National Safe Place.
Okay, and they're located all around the nation.
Yes. Well, they're based in Louisville, Kentucky. Starting in the early 80s, it's an organization that links businesses, service organizations, just various companies together to provide a safe location for kids to go if they need help. And so they partner with other agencies all over the country to serve as the Safe Place shelters. So our job as the Safe Place shelter for Mecklenburg County is to recruit new Safe Place partners, to educate those partners, and to educate the community on Safe Place. And we're doing our best to really get the word out about what Safe Place is and how kids can access those services and by default access the relatives. So just recently, we partnered with 47 new organizations or 47 new sites to be safe places. Just recently had a partnership with Park and Recreation, Mecklenburg County Park and Recs. We have one of the Chick-fil-A restaurants here in Charlotte, South End. Chick-fil-A South End is one of our wonderful partners. We just developed a full partnership with Bojangles Restaurants. We've had a long-standing partnership with CATS, with the fire department. And so we have various partners, and I probably shouldn't have started naming everybody because I'm sure I left some folks out.
Wow.
But we have lots of partners in the community who work with us to make sure that the kids have a safe place to go if they need help. So if someone sees the yellow and black sign, and I'm sure if your viewers haven't seen it before, they'll notice it if they look at any fire department or any bus or Bojangles. They'll see these signs. And we're hoping that we can educate kids in schools or wherever they can go, that if they see these signs, you can go there, and if you need help, they'll get you to the relatives somehow, through a phone call, through transportation there, or whatever is necessary.
Do you have a program for volunteers for the people in the community?
Well, we need volunteers to help us do what we do. We always need volunteers to help us do things around the house, administrative duties in the house, because the relatives is a business as well as we're working to take care of behaviors and monitor the youth. But we have to handle the case management side of keeping these kids safe and finding safe resources for them. And so we always need assistance with that. There are always projects around the house to do. Our house is very old. It was built in the 20s, and we've had literally thousands of kids come through. So you can imagine how it needs some work, and we always look for volunteers to help us with some of those things. We need volunteers to help us with our crisis hotline. We'll train you to answer the crisis hotline and help us meet the growing need in the community. We encourage volunteers all the time. They can easily just check our website, click on the link for the volunteer email, and we have a volunteer coordinator who helps us coordinate with all of our volunteers who come to our program. I failed to mention this, and this is something fairly new. We have recently started a new program for youth 16 to 24 years old in partnership with Mecklenburg County with MetCares. And this program is for those youth who are transitioning from foster care or mental health systems or juvenile justice, transitioning out of the systems to adulthood. And so this is, I think, is a great connection with the relative shelter, because a lot of those young people in our shelter are at that age where they're in transition and have nowhere to go and don't have the skills that they need to function as adults in society. So this is what we were doing already with our shelter, but we've expanded it to a larger program, which is truly a community program, served with support from community agencies, community members, churches, volunteers, and anyone else who can be there to help us make sure that we can keep these young people safe and help them transition to adulthood.
Donations. What type of donations? Do you accept donations, and what type of donations would you really like the community to provide?
Well, absolutely. We accept donations. First and foremost, we can always use financial donations. We are a 501c3 organization, and we don't charge any fees for service.
Correct.
And our services aren't billable to insurance or Medicaid or any other source. So we operate on charitable contributions, grants from local churches, foundations, organizations, and county and United Way funds. We also have a federal grant that we operate under. So we can always use charitable contributions. We really need that. But then also clothes for teenagers, hygiene products, just really anything that you would need at your house, we absolutely need at our house. Linens, blankets, comforters, different things like that, because as I said, we have thousands of kids going through our program all the time. Last year, nearly 300 kids stayed in our program. So with that, each year, if you're going 300 kids, there's thousands of kids coming through, and so we run out of a lot of the things that we need.
If someone wanted to contact you as far as information on the volunteering or donations, how would they get in contact with you?
Well, our website is www.therelatives.org. On the website, there is a link to the email address, trvolunteer@therelatives.org. So that's our email address for volunteering. Our phone number is on there. It's 704-377-0602. That's actually our crisis hotline number and our information number. We have 5 or 6 phones that ring to the same number, so it can be a crisis call or an information call, but we'll definitely answer and make sure we give you the help that you need and take the assistance that you can offer.
What passion do you have in this type of area that makes you so, get involved in this type of program, dealing with the youth?
I told you I don't like to talk about myself as much, but I don't know. I don't want to see our young people end up being our old people who are in trouble. Our young adults who have nowhere to go will eventually, if we don't intervene, be our adults on the street who have nowhere to go. I want to make sure we can make a difference for these young people who just need help. I had family members who helped me. I had friends who helped me, and a lot of our young people don't have friends and family who are there who can help them be stable and do what needs to be done. One of the things I like about the Relatives is it's not just designed or geared to a specific population of kids. We serve youth from all over Mecklenburg County in all areas, from the higher class to the lower class. And I don't like to say the class systems, but this isn't a program for lower income youth. We've had people from literally all of the zip codes in Mecklenburg County, and we want to make sure that we serve everyone as well as we can. And I feel good about that. These are normal kids who just need assistance, keeping themselves safe, and these are families that need help staying together.
Okay, someone, as far as we're running short on time, do they have to be located in the Mecklenburg County, or can they be, runaway children from out of the county?
They can be from out of the county, but if they are in Mecklenburg County, they're eligible for our services. So we have had young people from really as far. We had one person from Mexico who somehow ran away and found his way to Charlotte and needed help getting back home. So we figured out a way. Couldn't go back home to his parents, so we had to figure a way to get him home to another family member that could keep him safe. And so we coordinate with whomever we can to make sure that youth who are on the streets or here in Mecklenburg County who need help, make sure they get that help.
Okay, Mr. Graham, I'd like to thank you for coming on this show.
Oh, thank you.
Educating the community about The Relative. It's an awesome program, and anytime you want to come back, you're really welcome to have you come back.
Well,
This show is for you. Thank you for watching Second Chance. We come on every Thursday at 5:30. Visit my website, www.secondchanceorganization.com. Join us next week. Our guest will be the representative from Favor Ministries.